Every feeling you've ever had in a crowded room, the strange ones, the heavy ones, the ones you couldn't explain on the drive home. They all have names, real psychological names, felt by millions, never told to you. Until now. Let's start. Number 11, Presque Vu. You're at a gathering. Someone across the room looks familiar, not their name, not where you know them from, just familiar. And you spend the next 20 minutes chasing a memory that stays just out of reach. That maddening feeling of almost remembering the word on the tip of your tongue, the name just beyond your grasp, that's presque vu, French, for almost seen. Neuroscientists call this tip-of-the-tongue phenomenon a memory retrieval failure, where the brain knows it knows something but cannot complete the access pathway. You weren't forgetting, you were almost remembering. There's a difference. Almost is its own kind of haunting. Number 10, Paratrope. Someone is talking to you. You're nodding, you look engaged, but inside, you left the conversation 4 minutes ago. You're thinking about something you said 3 days ago, or something you need to do tomorrow, or nothing at all, just gone. That involuntary mental departure from a conversation your body is still attending, that's paratrope, the mind's quiet rebellion against stimulation it didn't choose. Psychologists connect this to selective attention fatigue when the brain has processed so much social input that it begins rationing focus without asking your permission. You weren't being rude. Your mind was protecting itself the only way it knew how. It went somewhere quieter. Number 9, personalization flicker. It happens without warning. You're mid-conversation, mid-laugh, and suddenly everyone around you seems slightly unreal. Like you're watching a film of a party you're supposed to be in. The voices sound slightly far away. The faces look slightly unfamiliar. Even your own hands look strange for a second. That brief dissociative moment in the middle of a social situation that's a depersonalization flicker. Psychologists describe this as transient dissociation, a momentary disconnection between self-awareness and environment triggered most commonly by overstimulation or emotional overload. Your mind didn't break, it blinked, because sometimes the world gets louder than the self can hold. Number 8, ocular loneliness. You lock eyes with a stranger across a crowded room. Just for a second, and in that second, something passes between you. Recognition, not of who they are, but of what they are. Another person, fully real, fully alive, fully alone in the same room as you. And then it's gone. They look away. You look away. And you will never know them. That specific loneliness of a genuine human moment that existed for 1 second and then disappeared forever, that's ocular loneliness. Research on microconnection theory suggests these brief moments of eye contact activate the same neural pathways as sustained meaningful connection. Your brain felt something real, in 1 second, with a complete stranger, and then the crowd swallowed them, and you were alone again, in the most populated room you'd been in all week. Number 7, velvet mask. You got ready, showed up, turned it on. The version of you that's easier for everyone else. Lighter, more palatable, less complicated. And you wore it so well that by the end of the night, even you almost forgot it was there. That exhausting performance of being the version of yourself that rooms full of people can comfortably receive, that's the velvet mask. Psychologists call this impression management, the constant self-monitoring and self-presentation that socially aware individuals perform almost automatically. The velvet mask isn't fake. It's a real part of you, just not all of you. And the weight of the difference between the mask and what's underneath it, that weight, has a name now. And it's heavier than velvet. Number 6, social undertow. You didn't plan to talk to that person, or join that group, or stay 2 hours longer than you intended. But somehow, social gravity took over. One conversation led to another. One introduction pulled you sideways. And before you knew it, you were somewhere you never chose to be doing something you never agreed to do. That invisible current of social momentum that carries you, places your introverted self never wanted to go, that's social undertow. Behavioral psychologists call this social compliance, drift the tendency to follow social momentum rather than assert personal preference in group environments. You weren't weak. You were caught in a current that most people don't even know exists. And swimming against it takes more energy than anyone who's never felt it will ever understand. Number 5, kenosis. The party ends. You get in the car. And you sit there for a moment before starting the engine. Not upset. Not happy. Just empty. Like every conversation, every laugh, every performance of yourself costs something. And now the account is low. That specific depletion after sustained social exposure, not tiredness of the body, but emptiness of the self, that's kenosis. Originally a theological concept, the emptying of self. Now used in psychology to describe social energy, depletion, the measurable cognitive and emotional cost of extended interpersonal performance. You didn't leave early because you're antisocial. You stayed longer than you should have because you cared. Kenosis is what caring costs. And nobody ever tells you that the people who give the most in rooms leave with the least. Number 4, adrenitis. You're talking to someone, and they seem interesting, actually interesting, but the conversation stays shallow. Weather, work, weekend plans, and you feel this frustration building not at them at the distance, at how long it takes to get to the real conversation, the one underneath all of this. That impatience with small talk, that frustration with social preamble, that craving to skip straight to what actually matters, that's adrenitis. Psychologists link this to need for cognitive depth, a measurable personality trait where individuals experience genuine discomfort with surface-level interaction and a strong drive toward meaningful exchange. You're not impatient. You're hungry for a conversation that actually feeds you. Number 3, spectateur. You find your spot, usually slightly to the side, usually with a drink you're not really drinking. And you watch. Who gravitates toward whom? Who performs for whom? Who laughs a half second after everyone else? Who's uncomfortable, but hiding it beautifully? You read the room the way other people read a book. That instinct to observe social situations rather than perform in them, to understand the room rather than simply occupy it, that's spectateur. French for the one who watches. Research on social observation processing shows that individuals who default to observation in group settings demonstrate significantly higher social pattern recognition and interpersonal prediction accuracy. In plain language, you understand people better than people who are too busy performing to notice them. The quietest person at the party is almost always the one who understood it most. Number 2, stavefall. The drive home. The moment the door closes behind you, the first minute alone after hours of being around people, something releases, shoulders drop, face relaxes, the performance ends. And in that release, there's something that feels almost like coming back to yourself, that specific relief of solitude after socializing the moment the real you quietly returns from wherever it went while you were busy being the version everyone else needed, that stavefall. Psychologists describe this as parasympathetic rebound, the nervous system's return to baseline after sustained social activation. Your body exhales what your mind was holding. Stavefall isn't antisocial. It's not rudeness. It's not ingratitude. It's the sound of you finally being allowed to be quiet again.
Number 1, liberocron. You're home, finally. No one to perform for, no one to read, no one to accommodate. Just you. In your space, in your silence, in the specific peace that only exists on the other side of being around people for too long. That sacred window of time alone after socializing, when you finally get to exist without an audience, that's liberocron. Personal time that resets not just your energy, but your sense of self. Research by Dr. Esther Buchholz on the psychology of solitude found that alone time after social exposure isn't just restorative, it's essential for identity coherence. Without it, you begin to lose track of where the performance ends and where you begin. Liberocron is not isolation. It is not loneliness. It is the quiet room your truest self has been waiting to return to all night. And in that room, you are not too much, not too quiet, not too intense, not too anything. You are simply enough, exactly as you are, with no one watching. Subscribe for more untold emotions backed by science and felt by all of us.